Hello everyone and welcome back to the world of Just Build. I'm here today with a very fantastic build idea for you guys, and it's actually going to take up quite a bit of space. So we're going to space out from the Axolotl Palace a bit, and we're going to build right in front, or technically behind, the Weeping Graveyard. So I have an idea for this build. This build actually came super easy to me, so it's going to be a short one today. But I think you guys will really, really enjoy this build. So I'm not going to keep you guys waiting any longer. We're going to get straight into the build. So I went ahead, we got some tuff from the wheel. We also got some brown concrete powder, some jack-o'-lanterns, polished diorite stairs, twisting vines once again, and stripped acacia log. Now, obviously, I was not happy about using twisting vines again. This seems to be my curse in these builds. And I was like, well, this is going to be interesting, just like every other build I've had with twisting vines. I swear, every time I get twisting vines, it's like a curse that gets placed upon me, and I don't understand why. But I figured with the idea of the jack-o'-lanterns, I could make this like a sort of Halloween-ish type theme. So I went ahead and I started with a simple idea. I made like a small plot of land, just so I could kind of figure out the dimensions and stuff, because I didn't want it to be like a square. I wanted this build to be like as naturally made as I could. And I think I did, for the most part, decently well. I definitely could have done better for sure, like I always say in my builds. But hey, that's what this whole series is about. It's about practicing building. So if it wasn't about practicing, I would not be here. But basically, I went ahead and I laid down the concrete powder as like a sand texture, because I figured this could be maybe like a desert of some sort, maybe like this really dead and dry desert, perhaps. I definitely, I could have added some, like, dead tumbleweeds or whatever they're called, but I thought it would be too much with the weeping vines. You'll see what I mean in the future, but it would definitely have been too much with the weeping vines. I could have done a mix of both, but I really just did not have, like, a good idea for it, and I thought it would end up terribly. So, I ended up going to get some terracotta. And I know this isn't part of the build, but I wanted to build something actually kind of interesting. And I figured I'd go ahead and give it a shot at making like this like canyon rocky type mountain area. Maybe this could be like a custom biome. Maybe this could be like in the Badlands biome. Not sure. But basically, this would be in like a terracotta filled area. And you know, maybe it's like in a dead end zone, or maybe it's like somewhere else hidden in the mountains or the canyons. But basically, I thought it would be a cool idea to try to make it. I thought I did a decently natural job. Like, I was going to try to do it like this in a shape and then work on the details later, but I ended up deciding to just say screw it and just go crazy, and that's kind of what ended up doing. So I figured that I start on this end, see if I could try to make it as like natural, I guess is the right word. Yeah, I guess I could try to make it as natural as I could. I didn't even go off a reference image, and so that was probably my mistake, not going off a reference image. I also tried to implement some height to it, also give it some different dimension, you know, make it look very, very rocky, like it would be hard to traverse in survival, even though it's probably not. But I tried to make it as rocky and traverse as I could with the terracotta. I would have added like the other colors as well, with like how normal like canyons look. But weirdly enough, I thought it looked better without the colors, and even then I felt like adding the colors would be too much of a hassle. So I didn't end up adding like the orange and yellow terracotta. I just kind of kept the regular, you know, clay color terracotta, because I actually felt that was nicer looking and it wasn't too much of an eyesore, especially considering we have brown grass, and I don't think it blends too badly. I think it actually gives the right amount of shape. It's hard to describe this rock as I'm building it, but it looks pretty weird. But regardless, I think I did a good job, and it was definitely a nice change from like all the stone that I have placed around the world. So it was a definite needed change for sure. I even made sure to add some like dimension on the side as well, just so it didn't look as, you know, flat and like it was player made, because I did my best to really not make it look as player made. So I started out by like laying down shapes, and then I would fill that in and then work on the shapes that I've made. So I think that was the better way to go, because otherwise I would have just been making like triangles and spikes in the air. I think this method really worked out well. Obviously, I know it's not going to work out well for most people who build, probably. Most people either build from the top down or the down up. And, people build different ways, so I have no problem with it. But basically, this was my way. I just ended up spamming the blocks and filling in whatever needed to be filled. Because I didn't want to make it just like a hollow rock. I at least wanted it filled so it looked like, it looked filled. Besides, I think it ended up pretty well, like, despite the rock placement. I kind of just went crazy with it, placing, like, blocks everywhere. And, I worked on the little details later, like, holes, stuff that was floating, that kind of thing. So, the rock ends up looking decently well, I feel. I wanted to try to give it as much shape and different size shapes as I could. And I wanted to give, like, spikes somewhere, and I wanted to give, like, big hilly area somewhere, just make it look as unique as I possibly can. And I think for the most part it did end up very well, so I'm very proud of this. This is like the proudest thing I've probably ever built, at least on my own, without following a tutorial. Because normally when I build like houses and stuff for like survival or whatever, I kind of just either, depending on how I feel, I either just follow a tutorial or I just go with my own plan and do my own thing. But this one, I had, like, I got no reference images. I got nothing. I wasn't even watching YouTube. I was listening to musicals in my ear for, like, the past hour and a half before I ended up switching to my lights after, like, 30 minutes of listening to musicals. Because the music I currently listen to is the Odyssey, which is Epic the Musical. I don't know if you guys ever listened to it. It's really good. It's basically just the Odyssey book in musical form. And it's really good because we just finished Act 1. And Jorge is working on Act 2 as we speak. So I'm very excited to get that. I'm really, really excited. I would tell you about it, but I don't want to spoil it. And for those who've read the Odyssey, you kind of already know what it's about. I actually do need to read the Odyssey. It's something I would genuinely be interested in reading to see how different it actually is from the musical. Because if I know anything about Greek gods, it's that they're definitely not the nicest people. And I feel like there definitely would have been some people in the Odyssey that weren't as nice as they were in the musical. Like, I mean, most of the stuff we've seen from the gods is just like Athena, and maybe Zeus, Poseidon for sure. We see a lot of Poseidon and Athena. But I want to see more. Like, I definitely want to see more. So I might see if I can get a copy of the Odyssey just so I can, give it a read. Because I'm actually kind of curious. Especially because the Underworld Saga got me very, very excited. I don't know what it is about the Underworld Saga, but something about it just hits different. Mainly because I think that one has so much more raw emotion than most of the other sagas in the musical. Which is fair, because I mean, it's the Underworld. Of course you're going to have so much emotion. But enough about the Odyssey. I don't want to spoil too much for you guys. So, back to the building. It looks like right now I am on the acacia buildings that I'm making. And I figured that I could maybe make this like some kind of like a village or like a camp where somebody lives here. At least I think that would have been a good idea. Like, I don't know if it's a good idea in theory, but it was a good idea when I thought about it at the time. If I had more room to make it, I definitely would like have add more buildings. But I didn't want to add more buildings. I really didn't. And I didn't feel like making it bigger. I just needed enough for a small build because I really wouldn't have any other idea how to design any of the other buildings. I think the acacia brings a nice pop to the tuff, which I used for the wall. it gives it like a nice rocky texture. Like it looks like it's actually made of like, you know, those molded rocks where, I'm trying to think. You know how they have like those rock walls that look like the rocks are just like embedded and cemented to the wall? It gave me that feeling. That's what I got from using the tuft. So I was really happy with that feel. I love rock walls. Rock walls are just so beautiful, especially when they're paired with like a bunch of plants and stuff like that. Speaking of rocks and plants, I actually do need to get back into Planet Zoo content because I have not touched that in like a good amount of weeks. And for reason too, because I needed a break. My staff was killing me. I went ahead and I also used these jack-o'-lanterns as like a light post, you know, because maybe this town likes pumpkins. They like using pumpkins to their advantage. Like, they love pumpkin foods, they love pumpkin drinks, they love pumpkin decorations, they just love anything that has to do with a pumpkin. You know, I feel like maybe these people would probably like worship a pumpkin god. I would not be surprised. I would actually love to see some art of what a pumpkin god would look like. That would be kind of funny. But basically, I added some of the coarse dirt as well just to give the ground a bit of a dirt texture. Because, you know, maybe it's a mix of sand and dirt in this area, wherever this may be in your world. And, you know, give it like a rough texture. And I figured, why not stick with the pumpkin theme? So I went and got some cauldrons, filled them up with water, and then I got some pumpkins, because, of course. And, of course, I had to grab sea pickles, because we needed those. So I made like a little pumpkin patch, and I used the sea pickles as stems because I saw this trick get used so many times in my Minecraft days. It is ridiculous. And I finished it off with like a little fence. You know, I made a little fence for the pumpkin patch because I feel like they would obviously have pumpkins trying to grow at least. Like, honestly, I definitely feel like they should have pumpkins growing considering they use jack-o'-lanterns. And I think I just ended up making like a cult. I think I just made a cult for pumpkins, if I'm gonna be honest with you, because honestly I have no idea what I was doing. I kept placing the wrong things, and then I realized like, oh wait, it's an awning, not a curtain. Yeah, so that ended up being weird. I wanted to put this sparkly orange carpet, but I thought maybe it was like a little too much. I eventually go back and I changed this to like a regular blue colored carpet because I was worried like the orange would be too much. And I wanted to pick one of the other carpets that I had, so I went with this like nice little dark blue carpet. It looks nice. It looks like royal blue, I think. I think it gives it like a nice distraction from all the orange, with the orange floors, the orange bed, the orange curtain. Listen, they might be a cult. They might be a cult, but they at least have some style. They at least realize when too much orange is too much orange. So after this, I went around and I started spreading a bunch of the twisting vines along the edges of the canyon. Or at least the canyon walls or rock walls, whichever. And I wanted to make sure it was like really adamant, like normal Minecraft plants are kinda. And then I went and got some string. I also went the route like the Weeping Garden, and I went putting string on every single one of these, and I swear I was losing track of how many I was going to be putting, because like I was trying to figure out like, okay, I'll do the ground ones first and then I'll work my way up, and then I realized I don't know how many I did. It was a hassle getting all these stringed up, but it ended up working because it gave some of them time to grow. It also gave them time to like get different heights, which is really good. I wanted some different height ones, so I was really hoping for that. And I started on one side just to at least, you know, make sure I was getting at least one side fully done before I went to the other one. Because otherwise I definitely would have lost track of which ones I did and which ones I didn't. But I figured this could be like an idea of like maybe like an infection. Like considering I have so many weeping twisting vines in my builds, I figured this could be like maybe like an infection type thing in terms of like lore and stuff. Maybe like twisting vines could be like an infected thing, and you know, maybe it could make people sick, or it could like damage crops. I'm not entirely sure what it would damage, but it's an infection that nobody wants. And so I ended up naming this place the Infected Pumpkin Garden, which I think fits really well considering how it looks. I added a few extra decoration as well because I wanted some decoration. I thought it'd be cute to have like a little horse here. So I got the horse and I tamed it till it loved me, and then I put a saddle on it. Cause like, I feel like this place could use a horse. We don't use horses very much. Maybe one day I could use my building blocks to make like a weird looking stable. Cause I would like to make a stable. I think that would look really good. But I ended up naming it, like I said, the Infected Pumpkin Garden. And I think it looks really good. This is what it looks like in the daytime, and then this is what it looks like at night. I went ahead and I wrote in my book, as I normally do at the end of my builds. And with that being said, guys, thank you guys so much for watching to the end of this video. If you like it, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps my channel grow. Also, make sure you go follow me on Twitch. I stream there every Tuesday and every Thursday. And also make sure you check out the Discord link in my bio so you can join my Fox channel. And as always, I will see you all in the next one.